Hello, everyone. We are so excited to have you all here today. We are here with the wonderful, the amazing Miss Angela J. Ford. She is our writer for today that we are featuring. She's the author of the Four Worlds series, and she's also a book launch strategist. She's extremely passionate about helping authors and bloggers do the things that they love by helping them with their book marketing. So if you need some help with your book marketing, things aren't going the way you wanted them to, please make sure that you get in touch with Miss Angela, because she has definitely got the skills and the know-how to help you get to where you want to go. So how are you doing, Miss Angela?
I'm doing wonderful. I slept all day yesterday, so I'm pretty much alive today.
That's awesome. I wish I could sleep a little bit longer.
Oh my gosh.
Not with 3 kids, but it's okay.
Blessed with the children. You're blessed.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks so much for joining us. And we're going to go ahead and just jump in with our first question. Now, I know a little bit more about you than probably some of our viewers, so just give us a glimpse and tell us a little bit about yourself, Miss Angela.
All right. Well, I'm Angela. I am a writer and author. I love writing fantasy novels. I'm obsessed with coffee, and I absolutely love helping people get to where they want to go. Like I'm a big dreamer, I guess. I grew up in a house with 4 sisters, and we were all big dreamers, and my parents were the kind of people that were like, oh, if you want to do it, just go do it. You have our blessing. So that's kind of the background that I come from, and it's really encouraging. It's allowed me to like think big and actually go from the thinking and the dreaming to actually doing things. So that's me, and I've kind of transitioned a lot in my life. I wanted to be a musician, and I worked in sports, and I did healthcare, and I'm super techie, so I love building websites but I've always come back to my one love, and that has been writing. And I'm obsessed with like technology and the internet and social media. So marketing just comes very naturally, just kind of rolls into it. So I just combine the 2 things I love, marketing and writing. And here I am.
Awesome.
That's me.
I love that. What I really love about what you just said is that you came from a supportive family. And I think that is so key. A lot of writers out here don't have that support system. And just to be able to say that you came from that is so amazing. And like you said, it just gave you that opportunity to explore and to figure out, what you were really interested in and figure it all out into where you are now. So I think that's great. That's really, really awesome.
Oh, yes. It's quite a blessing to have that, to know that, people at home are just rooting for me.
For sure. For sure. Now, you've told us a lot about yourself and some things that you do like, but what are, I guess, the things that are your favorite things to do outside of writing?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I like watching TV. That's what I like doing. Like I will binge on some Netflix. I have food. I would just go for days. Scandal actually is one of my favorite shows, and you know this because like tweet Scandal on Twitter all the time. So if you're Twitter fans, Thursday night, 8:00 Central Time, we'll be on Twitter tweeting with the hashtag Scandal. So that actually is like a fun thing to do. I'm a huge fan of like Shonda Rhimes and everything she's doing, so I just follow her shows. So Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, that one is just mind-blowing.
Yes.
And it's really cool because, and I know you said things I do for fun aside from writing, but it just kind of goes back into writing because it's almost like research. It's almost like studying the different things she does with her storylines and the parts where she just like, you think you know what's going to happen, and it is never what you think. It never is. Like, I'm like, oh, I got this. This time it's gonna be like this person is doing it, and like she just throws you, and you're just like so hooked by it. And I'm like, I have to do that with my writing. I have to like, just like bring people in and like keep them coming and like hook them in and make surprising things happen, so they'll just keep coming back for more. So it is a hobby and something I do for fun, but it also helps me with writing. Sorry, stay away from it.
I get that. I've told my dad that too. I enjoy watching. I don't watch a ton of TV. I only watch TV on Thursday nights for Shonda. But like you, I do my market research as well. I think it's really great, and I think it's smart. I mean, she's really doing it up. She's got a super huge following. And I just think she's someone great that we could learn from. And even though we can't have her physically here with us, I think the next best thing is, like you said, to at least watch her shows and kind of figure out what she does to keep people watching every week. So I get it, girl. I get it.
Yeah, I love that she tackles some tough issues. She's not afraid of like hurting people's feelings, and with the topics that she picks and the things that her characters go through. Like, it's very like hard hitting at times, and it can be hard to watch, but I like that she does that. So that's something that, not being afraid to write something because someone might not like it. For her.
That is key. Because I have struggled with that too, wondering, oh my gosh, should I not write this because so-and-so might read it and they might blah, 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 blah. And, I think if we're not careful, we can become stagnant, and we can just become this person that produces what they feel everybody else is going to like, instead of really getting into the raw truths and bringing out our stories that we have. So yeah, I agree. We've got to let all that go and just write what we're supposed to write. So
I love what you said. Just write what you're supposed to write.
Right.
That's right there.
Yes.
That's a quotable.
Yes, ma'am. So tell us a little bit about when you started getting interested in writing. When did that happen?
Oh, wow. So this kind of sounds like cheating, but I feel like I've always been interested in writing. I just remember being like very, very young, like before I learned how to read. I learned how to read when I was 4 years old, but I remember I would like take different books that my mom used to read to me, and I would like open them up and like look at the pictures, and I didn't know what the word said, but like I remember like just kind of like making up the story or like memorizing it, or just like, just like feeling it in. And so yeah, that's like one of my earliest memories. Only have a handful of them, but that's one, just like sitting there with a book, just like kind of reading it through. I think my love for like storytelling really came from my parents, because they encouraged me and my sisters to read a lot, and they would always tell us stories. Like I remember my mom would read The Chronicles of Narnia. She read that book out loud to me and my sisters. And my dad read The Hobbit out loud to me and my sisters. And so he would do all the voices, and he would like sing the songs, and it was just hysterical. And like, I ate it up. I loved it. And I think that love of storytelling just really encouraged me when it came to writing. And I remember just being very anxious to start school. I wanted to learn my ABCs. I couldn't wait. I was really excited about learning how to read and write. Like I was just over the moon about that. So I think it was just like at that very young age that started it. And then I started journaling every day, just really just like writing down like whatever I did during the day, or like what I thought about it. And that really helped with like getting the words out and starting them to flow. And then from there, it just kind of turned into storytelling and like making up stories with my sisters. We actually did a lot with our toys and our Barbie dolls and teddy bears and just like all these things. Like we would hardcore play. Like we would pull stuff out, and then we would all like narrate everything that our toys were doing. And so like someone walked into the room, they would see like 5 girls like lying on the floor with their toys, all talking at the same time, and it was just ridiculous. But those turned into like stories, and so like I actually like wrote a book that was based off of one of the stories that like played with them toys, just because like that's where stories come from. And like when I was a kid, like, oh my gosh, everything was possible. And so like I can make up ridiculous things and just go with it. And I feel like I had such a bigger imagination when I was younger. And I'm really glad that I did write those stories down and that I remember them, because it really helps to go back and look at them and go like, wow, there's some terrible writing, but that ideal isn't too crazy. Let's see that into something. So I think I finished my first novel when I was 12. And that actually is The Five Warriors, which is out now, not the 12-year-old version. But that's when I first finished it. And then from there, I went on to write another like 5 or 6 novels between the ages of 12 and 18. So that really launched it. That did it.
Wow, that's an incredible journey. I'm not sure if I've met anyone else who has quite that same path that you did. That's wow. To be able to say you've written your first novel at 12, oh my gosh, girl, that's great. It was really cool that you're selling now. That's interesting. So if there are any parents out there and you've got kids who are avid readers and writers, don't discount all that. We've got Angela here. She was able to turn that into something that, is actually marketable now. So encourage your youngsters to keep writing. That's great. Great. And there was something else you said. You said that you look back at your previous ideas in writing. And I think that is really, really key right there, because I don't think we do that enough. I think sometimes we just keep writing and producing instead of revisiting some things and seeing how we can tweak it or modify some things, like you said, because I think if we all took a look back in our arsenal, we probably have a good bit of gems back there that could be revisited.
Yes, the reason that it's kind of like hard to look back is that, it's embarrassing on the one hand, but then on the other hand, you also see how far you've come. Like, I had a book that just released, and I was sitting around with my sisters, and we went back. I had the original story of The Five Warriors in a binder, the 12-year-old version, and we went back and we were looking at it and we were reading it, and it was so hysterical. I was like crying with laughter because it was the funniest thing. I was like, so many ridiculous things happened that made absolutely no sense. And but it's fun. Like, you can really see the journey there. So it is a good idea to go and look back at like some of your old things and, laugh about it, be embarrassed about it, but recognize that, you did something, you finished something. That's incredible.
That's awesome. So tell us, I know you've got a really awesome support system, and you've just been writing for forever, but can you remember any barriers that kind of held you back from wanting to showcase your work at any time? And how did you overcome it?
Absolutely. I just kind of got to the point actually where I just stopped writing for a while. I was in college and I was very focused on like my college curriculum and doing all of that. And one of my big things was that I did not study English. I took it on as a minor, and I hated all the classes, and it ended up being my lowest grade. And I was like, you know what? I'm taking business classes and I'm doing really good in them. Like, how can I get a higher grade in finance than English? That's ridiculous. Like I'm more of a creative person. And so the fact that was happening just told me that, like, okay, I should not be doing this. And so that was something that made me feel a little insecure about like writing books and being like, hey, I'm an author, because like I couldn't even like study English. I hated studying English. Because I probably should have been studying creative writing, not English.
Right.
That's what it was, but whatever. But doing that just really just kept me from like showcasing my work, because I felt like it's just not good enough, because there are all these other people that are great, amazing writers and who really like studied English, and they know like storytelling, they know language, and they're really good at like the grammar and the sentence structure. And that's just not me. Like that's something I have to like take time to like learn and overcome. And I have barriers even when it comes to writing. Like I need people to point things out to me, which is why I have an editor, because I need people to point things out and say like, hey, did you realize you repeated this word like 10 times in this chapter? Like this is so like just things like that. I'm like, that just went over my head. I did not realize that until you said that. So that was one big barrier to overcome. The other one was just the fact that I just thought that, you know, maybe everything that I did when I was younger was everything that I had when it came to writing, and I can't write anymore. And I remember I was working on rewriting all of my books, and I think I was right in the middle of the Five Warriors, and my laptop got stolen, and I had everything on the laptop. Like it wasn't like saved or like in the, it was like on the laptop. So it got stolen, and I was like, that's it. I'm done. So also, like, that whole fear of starting over, or fear of like looking at the blank page and getting started, was also really hard. But my sisters just kept hounding me, and I was like, okay, I can do this. So I remember I took a week-long vacation, and I went to Tucson, Arizona by myself, because I was like, I'm going to go to some resort that's secluded by myself, and you know, I can just order like food and drink, and it's absolutely gorgeous location, and just sit and write. And that really helped, because I had plenty to distract me. I was like, oh, I'll just go on a hike, I'll get a massage, I'll go to the gym, let me go to the golf course. I had plenty of things to distract me, but that computer was just staring at me. So I just started writing, and that really was like really focusing in and being like, okay, I have a goal and I want to accomplish this. People want to hold this book in their hands. They want to read it. So I have to make this happen, because if I don't, then it never will happen. And so it just really helped just to like take some time to myself and just like close out of everything that could distract me and get away from my regular routine, and just really focus on that writing process and getting over, you know, just telling myself like, so what, you didn't study English, like it's okay. There are plenty of other writers that didn't like study like English and like study writing, and they become these famous authors. So it's okay to, you know, not feel like I don't have like all the credentials and all the education that I feel like I need in order to become a writer. And it's okay to start over from scratch. Like it's not the end of the world.
Girl, a stolen laptop in the middle of writing. I'm still just in awe. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I would have done. Oh man, wow. Well, I'm really glad your sisters were there to really get you going and keep you motivated to do it, and you found a way to make it work. And I think that's what I heard in what you just shared. You faced a lot of things, but you did not give up. You kept looking for a different way to overcome whatever you were facing at that moment. Being very resilient. And I think that's really encouraging to our writers that are listening, is that no matter what we're facing, so what, we don't have an English degree or whatever, like, so what, our story crashed on our computer or what have you, like, we can still do it. If we're persistent, if we have that tenacity, we can still make it work. So, man, I have no excuses anymore. Not after hearing that.
Yes, like, I mean, granted, I did take a 2-year break from writing, but still, like, it, you know, like, got back to it.
That's awesome, though. That's really great. So I know you talked a lot about your support system and just what kept you going all these years. What kind of writing would you say is your favorite to read? I know you write fiction, but you might surprise me. I don't know. What is your favorite kind of writing to read?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I know I write fantasy, and I love that. I absolutely am obsessed with reading thrillers. Like thrillers, that's what I read. I
Okay.
can sit down, someone hands me a thriller, I read in like 4 hours and I'm just like blown away. It's so impressed because it's like this story and it's like you're trying to figure out like who did it or what happened and, why are things this way? And like, oh, always just like so shocked and in awe and like, oh my gosh, I did not see that coming. So it's just like the momentum, it just keeps going. So I love thrillers. I like reading kind of like more like instructional, kind of like self-help books. I used to read a lot more of them. Now I read a lot less of them. But I really do enjoy like reading nonfiction every now and then. But yeah, just give me a thriller and I'm gone.
That's probably why you like Shonda Rhimes and her shows. Especially How to Get Away with Murder. It just, you need to know what's happening next. So
yes, like you just can't put it down. And I really admire that about thrillers. I'm like, I really have to read them in like almost one sitting because I need to know.
Oh, I figured you might surprise me, so I'm glad. No, I know you've written a ton of books already, but where do you see your writing taking you in the next 5 years?
So there are a lot of things that I want to do. So with my fantasy series, what I'm doing is just establishing the foundation and like really my fantasy world. And then I have like dozens of stories that I want to write that like all happen within this world, but I just really want to dive into it. I have a timeline that covers like 3,000 years. And so again, something crazy I did when I was young, I was like looking at it and I was like, there are 3,000 years worth of history in here. Okay, I'm a good teacher, right? So that's what I'm going to do for the next 5 years, writing 3,000 years worth of history. That will be very entertaining, maybe very thrilling in a way. But yeah, my big goal is to really work up and build up my author platform so that I can be a 6-figure author. And whether that's from books or like books and services, like it doesn't really matter. Like that's one of my big goals to get up to. I want to be able to live completely off of, my book royalties and things that I'm doing with book marketing. Cause that really is just so much fun for me. It doesn't feel like work. Like it just, I like it because there's always like a deadline. You always know when you're finished. Like, I think I just have this addiction to finishing things and launching things. I really think that's what it is. Because I remember the first time I like finished a book, like it was just like this huge like accomplishment. It was like I didn't even have to tell anyone. It was just like in my head and I was like, wow, that was massive. Like, I want to do it again. And so like I think that's what it is. Like, I just want to like finish it and be like, oh, it is done. And then like you package it, present it, and you're like, here it is. And like I launched the book a couple weeks ago, and I'm already like racing towards the end of my next book because I'm just like I'm ready to do this again. And it's fun, but yeah, so that's what I want to do for the next 5 years, write and release and like build up that platform. And I've already seen a huge like. Actually, it's been massive. I had a very, very long gap in between my first book and my second book, just because I had writer's block for a year. It happens. So, like, just nothing was happening with that second book. So there was a huge gap, and like there were still sales from the first book, and it was still moving along. But after I announced that the second book was coming out, everything just like ramped up so fast, and I was like, oh wow! Like, I mean, I expected it to, but I don't think I was expecting it quite at that level. But I started to see like the more that you put out, like the more people hear about you, and some people are like really interested in the second book, and so they're reading that first, and they're like, oh, well, I guess I'll go back and read the first book. So it's just different seeing what different people want, and what they're really excited about, what draws them in. So my goal is to just keep producing great, fun, entertaining, quality content and keep bringing them in, building it up.
I like that. And I've teetered back and forth between wanting to do the writing full time and wanting to do it part time. And I totally get you wanting to. I think when you're able to do it full time and to completely immerse yourself into it and to feel comfortable and confident that you're able to pay all the bills and all that stuff with it, it really does take the pressure off, and you're really able to just truly enjoy what you're doing without having to worry about other things. And I don't know. I think I'll get there, but I think I've just got 3 little people that have me thinking otherwise right now. But I do enjoy doing it part-time. And I'm making the best of this situation and looking at where I'm at and pulling ideas from where I am to incorporate into newer writing pieces. So that's how I'm getting by until I get your status one day.
Well, I think that's great too, because I think it's kind of hard to be a full-time writer without like pursuing something else. Like, I mean, if I wrote like all day, every day for 8 hours, I think I would just go nuts, which is why it's helpful to have that other things that I'm interested in doing, like a website building and working with other authors. Cause yeah, you're right. Like it would be great to someday like have that and just like be able to sit back and rely on that. Yeah, I don't know that will be the one thing that I do. It'll be one of many.
Yeah, I think that's something else for me, is because I need some kind of variety. And so obviously I'm not going to, give up on the writing. But like you said, I think I would prefer a couple different things to do while I'm writing, but it all be writing centered. So yeah.
I agree with that. It's just like, it's just like how like you don't just have like one hobby in your life, like you like to do a lot of different things.
Now, some of our listeners today are probably still struggling with giving themselves the permission to build an authentic writing brand. What advice would you give to those kind of people that are still struggling in that area?
Yeah, with just building the writing brand, one of the things that I personally struggled with was sharing my work. Just because when you're writing something, like it's you and your words, and it feels very vulnerable to like get it out there and share it with other people, especially because they will judge it. Not even might, they will judge it. And sometimes it will be positive and sometimes it will be negative. But the thing is, if you really want this, if you really want to make it happen and build your platform, you have to get past the fact that people are going to judge it. And some of it will be good and some will be bad. And sometimes people won't understand what you're trying to do. And that's okay. Like, you just have to be confident in who you are in your writing and that it is reaching the right people. And one of the things that's very interesting, I've heard other authors say this as well, like, if you have a book that's published and you go on Amazon and you can see like you have like all of these positive reviews and it's glowing and it's beautiful and it's amazing and people just love it, and then you have that one negative review and it can ruin like everything for you.
Yes.
But it's one. Like it can be something that's that small. And so it's like letting those tiny things not ruin our day, and like kind of making sure, just focusing on the positive, like focusing on the mindset. I think mindset and confidence is huge when it comes to writing. And, it's something that I work on. I know that I've had like successful book launches, but I still am like, new books coming out, no one's going to buy it. And, like, that's not true. They are. It's But, like I always have that like inkling in there. So it really doesn't matter how like successful someone appears. Like there's still like the insecurities and like the lack of confidence, but it's also the just do it anyway. Just do it. Focus on the positive and go for it.
You touched on two things that have held me back for so long: confidence and mindset. And man, I'm telling you, like, even though I knew I had stories to share, like you said, I was so set on this person that seemed really successful and that person that seemed really successful. And going back to not having credentials in storytelling and things of that nature, all that negative self-talk and chatter going on, if we're not careful, we'll never get those stories out of us. We'll never be able to say we've written books or we've done this or we've done that. And so, I agree with you. We've got to get to that place where we just say, hey, I don't care if it's not perfect. I don't care if it's whatever. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I can always rewrite it if I really choose to. There are other things you can do.
Yes, and that whole thing about rewriting it, it's actually one of the things that I found is helpful with before I actually get my book out there. Like I'm trying to release the absolute best version that I can without just like drowning in like perfectionism and trying to fix every little thing. But I always have beta readers, and people like my sisters are great and they read my books, but I like to have strangers read it too, because they don't know me and like the background, the whole big history of the story. So it's helpful to see things from their perspective. And they always pull out these things that I didn't realize needed to change and could improve in the story. And so that's also helpful, and that reduces like the criticism and like some of the negative judgment, because if they notice that, other people will notice that too, and they'll be like, hey, why didn't you do this? And it's like, no. That helps a lot, just having some other eyes on it before it's officially published.
That's something that I did not do that I wish I had done on my first book. I mean, I had a few people look over it, but again, like you said, when they're close people to you, I don't think they give the same kind of feedback that someone else that doesn't know you would. And it was that kind of situation. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Getting other people who have no attachment to you to really tell you like it is.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely necessary.
Yeah, I remember all of my beta readers hated my first book. They didn't like it.
Oh
no! They didn't like it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow. See, and this is encouraging and inspiring to me, and I hope it is to all you guys that are listening, because I love these kind of settings, these interviews, because you never would know this. When we pick up a book from an author, we have no clue what it took to get that book into your hands. We just have no idea. And so anybody who's still struggling out there, teeter-tottering, should I publish, should I not publish, whatever, we've got a great example here. Angela's just sharing everything with you about her road to getting to where she is. And what I'm taking from it, and what I hope you all take from it, is it doesn't matter what struggles you're going through, just keep pressing, keep persevering, just leave the negative chatter at bay and just keep going and just share your story. Share your story, folks. Share your story. So that's what I'm getting from all of this.
Yes, it's really important. I mean, whether it's fiction or nonfiction or like your own personal story, there is a way to tell your story that just pulls people in, and it needs to be heard. Like, you need to read your story. It has to be done.
Yeah. So talking about reading stories, you've told us a bit about your series. Now tell us more about the one that you recently released and how we can get our hands on it. I've already got the Kindle version. So tell everybody else how we can access this book.
Okay, so the second book in my series is called The Blended Ones, and it has this amazing dragon on the front, which I love it. I told my designer, I was like, I need to drag this monster coming out of the sea. And like, she just, she nailed it. It was like, I couldn't even imagine it. Like, I saw it and I was like, wow, I love it. But yeah, so it's a story about a couple of twins. They are from a mixed family, which is very frowned upon in their culture. But one of them has epilepsy. That's actually not what I call it in the book, but that's what it is. Mm-hmm. And so, she's not doing very well. She keeps having these episodes, and her sister is just very frightened for her. So she goes to the wise woman of the village and asks for help. And the wise woman is like, here's what you need to do. You need to go find this mysterious wise man, and he will heal her. And so they start off on this adventure, and along the way they find out that, disastrous things are happening across the world, and they're like these treasure hunters that are on their mission to find like their lost powers and like find their treasure. And then there are horse lords that are like, we need to rule the world, and like we're building an army. And it's just a very fun like coming of age adventure, mainly based around the twins, but there are lots of different characters, and you get to learn about the dragon, and there's this one character, she has a pet tiger, and just a lot of fun things that happen in it. Mm-hmm. So it is on Amazon, so you can find it there. Search for The Blended Ones or Angela J. Ford. And it's also available, you can get to it by going to my website, theblendedOnes.com. Very easy. But yeah, that will get you there, and it's a fun story. I had someone tell me they read it in like a day.
Oh wow.
So that was really cool. I was like, yes.
Awesome. So do you think you'll have another book as a part of this series, or are you gonna just stop it at The Blended Ones?
So there are 2 more books in the series. The third one will be out in September, this September.
Oh my goodness.
Uh-huh. I've been writing like a crazy person.
I see.
And then I have another book that will be out this year. It's not a part of the series, just another one. It's something I wrote when I was actually in college.
Okay.
The one thing that I actually still have from that time period when my laptop was stolen. I sent it to my sister, and like she happened to have a copy in her inbox, and so
nice.
So that one will be out later this year, and then the final book in this series will be out in 2018, and that will include the series, and then I can just write whatever I want.
Oh my goodness, you have really been writing. Oh wow, how do you do it all? That's a lot of writing, girl.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I do have the handwritten version that I wrote when I was like a teenager. So that's what I'm pulling from.
Well, it has certainly been beneficial.
It helps a lot. It was also not my first book, so it's a lot better.
Right. The experience has helped.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I can tell.
Well, that is great. So all of my sci-fi people out there, fantasy. Okay, hold on. My genre is essays and creative nonfiction. So correct me if I'm wrong. Sci-fi and fantasy, are they the same or are they different?
They are different. But people...
My apologies.
No, it's fine because people often lump them in together.
Gotcha.
And so like a broad umbrella would be science fiction and fantasy, and then you can be like, this is more science fiction, this is more fantasy, and then you can get down into like, this is high magic, this is epic fantasy, this is paranormal. Deep, very deep.
I just didn't want to call your genre the wrong thing. So all of the fantasy viewers that are watching, make sure that you get your copy of this. Even people that read other genres like myself. Something another writer and I talked about is it's really good to read outside of your genre anyway. It can just broaden your horizon. So I say everybody, make sure you get a copy of not just the blended ones, but the Five Warriors as well. You can't have one without the other. You got to know the complete story. We know it's a series, so we got to make sure we keep our stories on track here. So make sure you grab both of those and listen out for her upcoming books as well. And tell us how we can keep in contact with you to know when we can purchase the next books.
Yeah, so my hub is AngelaJFord.com. That's where I'm at. I'm also on Twitter. A421. I'll be live tweeting about Scandal, among other things.
Yes. I can't wait for Thursday.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Well, thanks again, Angela. It's been great just listening to all of the nuggets that you have given us tonight. I'm taking a lot away from this as well, and I can't wait to go back and listen to it so I can formally write out some things that I need to keep remembering. You just gave us a lot of encouragement and wisdom, and we just really appreciate you for taking this time with us.
Well, I appreciate you. This is amazing. Wonderful chatting.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you have a great night and we'll talk soon.
All right.